Okay, we have a lot to talk about. It's 3:45 on what is a rainy, chilly, especially if you're in the east wind zone, afternoon as the first significant winter storm, get this, in about a month arrives. I mean, think about it. It was mid-January when we had the cold Arctic air. We had some pretty good snow up in the Cascades. Since then, every one of the stronger weather systems has been relatively high snow levels with rain up in the mountains. We've had a few little things, but this is the first significant snowmaker since mid-January up in the snowpack. And boy, do we need it. Snowpack again, setting back down at about 70% of normal right now. So let's get you going. I have all kinds of winter storm warnings and advisories to update you on, and I'll take you through the storm that's now moving inland that will be with us through the day tomorrow on Thursday. So radar, and this has been mostly light precip in the valley so far, where you see the green areas, some heavier rain up now moving into the Long Beach Peninsula. You can see the movement of the moisture coming up from the south and pushing up to the northeast. Here's the wider vantage point. There's a second batch of moisture picking up in Northern California. And by the way, if you're traveling over the Siskiyou Summit into California tomorrow, you should expect winter conditions. The pass on I-5 is about 4,300 feet. The snow level tomorrow is expected to be 4,000 with up to a foot of snow down there. And really hefty amounts in Northern California in the higher elevations all the way down to the Tahoe Basin. So FYI on that, traveling southward. Right here you see the storm kind of curling up into us right now. Lightning offshore, but no lightning with the storm that we have pushing in. It's just all lightning that, rain that is moving in at a pretty good clip. So let's take you through some of the maps. Take a look at this. Yeah, snow accumulating up in the mountains. This is Highway 26, Government Camp. This was a clean highway this morning. They picked up so far just a couple inches, but it's going to keep falling. 28 degrees. All of the Cascade passes now show pretty good snow cover. It's going to be all out winter driving conditions, winter storm conditions up there tonight and during the day tomorrow as well. And then notice this. This started earlier this morning. Snow sticking to the highway over the upper elevations or the higher passes in the Coast Range. This is Highway 26. So this is terrific, 33 degrees. And I do believe there could be as much as 8 inches of snow on the east slope of the Coast Range, where the east wind is driving that colder weather into it. So winter driving conditions over the Coast Range as well. And remember, it still looks like odds are not absolutely likely, but good that we'll see accumulating snow in the gorge overnight tonight. And then check out this. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, I believe. The Portland Metro, snow chance tonight, but really I think it's above 500 feet. So that's if you obviously live up in one of the Metro Hill higher elevations of Southwest Washington and the North Willamette Valley. And this is not a guarantee. I think it's 50-50. If you live in the West Hills, if you live in the hills up in Woodland, if you live in, Bull Mountain, 50-50 chance that you'll see just rain, or you'll notice it's snow and you'll notice it's sticking, and there could be some accumulations in the morning. So that could go either way. I really feel confident that it's just going to be rain in the lower elevations of the I-5 corridor. So we'll see how that's going too. All right, here is the watch warning map update from the National Weather Service. And this kind of brink purplish tone, that's the winter storm warning for the Cascades. It does include a good chunk of Wasco County as well. And then the purple tones, winter weather advisories, including the Coast Range. And again, this morning, the National Weather Service popped this up for the North Willamette Valley, which is Portland, up into Clark County, and then also the Cascade foothill communities along the west slopes of the Cascades. But as I just mentioned a moment ago, I think for the Portland Metro, the chances really above 500 feet. So we'll see. Advisory for snow in the Coast Range, we talked about that, could be 8 inches. Mount Hood 10 to 20. I'm sticking with that forecast number of what's now falling through tomorrow. The gorge sticking snow potentially starting this evening. Again, gorge temperatures are going to be pretty close to freezing, so it's not a slam dunk, but generally along I-84, if temps drop down to 30 or so, then you have a good chance of seeing at least 4 to maybe as much as 8 inches of sticking snow at the lower elevations of the gorge. And then the Coast Range, 6 plus 8 inches, perhaps along the east slope, especially as you go up in elevation. That's Highway 6. That's Highway 26 as well. And then we talked about the Portland metro area. So some maps that are updated, but similar to the ones I showed you yesterday. Here's our low. Remember, it's on its way up to just off the mouth of the Columbia River, and it will sit there tonight and then weaken tomorrow. Definitely throwing moisture up. The moisture's been coming south to north up into the area. It's been a while to get going. It's been really light, but it's going to be getting heavier and heavier. Not just really heavy, but kind of into more of a moderate precip rate as we get going into tonight. And then notice this blue line. This is interesting. This is the southern edge of the Canadian high. Here's the Canadian high. So we're feeding an east wind into the gorge off this Canadian air mass. But if you find out where the colder air is at the surface, it's really kind of hanging up to our north. Seattle's in the Canadian air right now. We really aren't, but we're getting an east wind flow coming off of the overall surface high, if that makes sense. All right, but that's our rain and snowmaker, that low offshore. And so here it is this afternoon. Again, this is a GFS model. It colors in the Canadian air mass for you. The purple air is showing we're definitely getting an east wind flow into the gorge off of that colder air, but it's not Arctic air. It's not super cold. And there's that low near shore throwing the moisture up. So you have the collision of the moisture being thrown inland and some colder air, especially out in the Columbia River Gorge. This is the same GFS model at 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. The low moves a little bit to the north. That's substantial because as the low moves a little bit to the north, the overall flow around the low is more maritime air coming in from the west, which means by early tomorrow morning, it's that much more difficult to get snow levels down to the valley floor. So what's interesting is if we're going to see Metro Hill snow at 500 feet, and if I'm going to be surprised as a forecaster and we get snow lower than that, the best chance of that happening is actually this evening through about midnight. Lesser chances, I think, as we go into early tomorrow morning. So that's the way I see it. Again, this is still an east wind flow, but the flow around the low itself as the low moves to the north is more westerly, and that's actually more of a moderating flow. I've showed you this exact map for a while now, and I still think there's so the storm we're tracking now, picking up now, kind of wraps up the latter part of tomorrow. Then there's a mostly dry break Friday. And then there's a new batch of moisture that gets thrown in Friday overnight and Saturday morning. So I still think it's at least possible. There could be some breaks in that cloud cover, and east winds that pick up and become strong again Friday night could drive temperatures down to 32 degrees in the Portland metro area. And we would have a mix of maybe some light snow possibilities and spots at lower elevations. The chances more heavily favor rain, but these are just scenarios that I'm throwing out for you. Okay, let's get into what the latest modeling is showing in terms of precip. So this is this afternoon. This is right now, 4 o'clock. It's 4:02. This is the blended model showing the first batch of moisture we have accumulating about 13/100ths of an inch of rain so far in Portland, about the same down in Salem, and the precip picking up in the Cascades. This is just showing you precip. It's not showing rain or snow, it's just showing you precip. So watch how these numbers pick up into tomorrow morning. There's reason to believe that overnight into early tomorrow morning, we have some of the heavier precip rates. And that does give concern as to whether or not could that bring some evaporative cooling and drop the snow level down. I don't think it will in terms of snow to the valley floor. But again, just things I'm tossing out. Lots of moving parts, lots of things to keep your eye on. This goes nuts with over an inch of rain in Portland. I think that's too much. It goes about 0.6 of an inch in Salem. That's believable. The models I trust most say that between what's falling today through tomorrow afternoon, we could get upwards of an inch of total precipitation in Portland. I think that would be the high end. But you could see some decent amounts, 1/2 to 3/4 along the coast as well. And again, measurable precip up into Seattle and that across the east. If I go ahead and play this out until tomorrow, 4 p.m., it really jumps some of the numbers up. Less than an inch at the coast, over an inch in Portland. I think that's too high. I think Portland on the high end is going to be an inch of rain. This next map shows you just snow. Remember my forecast for the Mount Hood area, 10 to 20 inches. This shows through tomorrow afternoon, 20 inches right here on Mount Hood. And it does show 6, 7, 8-inch capabilities or possibilities right along the gorge at low elevations, higher amounts in the upper Hood River Valley. The Blue Mountains, upward, see anything that's, let me go to the, here's the, anytime you get into this kind of pinkish color, you're talking 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. So that's the forecast for the Blue Mountains out here in the 8, 9, 10, 12-inch snow possibilities. Olympics getting some decent snow out of this. And of course, snow up around Mount Rainier as well. And again, the snow down in the Siskiyou area of down in Northern California. All right, this next one is temperature. Temperature is going to be everything, as it often is, not always, but often. So this is tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. So I will tell you right now, going into the 4 o'clock hour, it's right around 40 degrees in Portland. All of the model guidance shows that from now through tomorrow morning, we basically see a flatline steady temperature. This shows at 4 a.m. in the morning, 38 degrees at PDX and 45 in Salem. There's actually going to be, remember when that low comes in tomorrow and then it starts moving up to the north, it starts to bring a south fetch of moisture up the Willamette Valley. So this shows much warmer in the mid and south valley, about 38 in Portland. This is 33 getting into the West Gorge. That's 33 out in the Dalles. It's 22 up in Spokane. It's 32 out in Baker County. We talked about this yesterday. Yeah, this is chilly Canadian air, but it's not really cold Arctic air that can just drive cold air advection through the gorge and really dictate everything. I still don't see that happening. The air's not cold enough. So I do believe the gorge is going to be right around freezing tonight. If it's 30, you get accumulating snow. If you're in a spot in the gorge where it's like 34, there may be some of those spots, stays pretty wet. Portland, going to be wet. I believe this is true. I think the coldest we can get is mid-30s overnight tonight at the lowest elevations in downtown Portland. That would be maybe some snow in the air at some point, but just wet down low. And I really think mainly rain. And as I play this into the afternoon tomorrow at 4 p.m., 47 in Salem, 40 or better here in Multnomah County, and getting above freezing during the day potentially out in the gorge. Now that's probably 50-50. Those east winds are still going to be blowing. If Hood River gets down to 30 tonight and picks up 4, 5, 6 inches of snow, it could be around 32 most of the day with snow showers out in the gorge. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, what else? Let's just check and see what's going on. Timberline 24, snow level is on its way down to 2,000 feet, maybe even 1,500 feet in the Cascades. And you can make the case that tomorrow morning, snow levels could be down as low as 1,000 feet around Sandy. I think you folks are right on the fence where maybe that happens, maybe it stays above 1,000 feet. We already looked at the ODOT camera, Government Camp 27. There's Santiam, snow-covered Willamette. Siskiyou Summit's 33. Again, this has a good chance of being snow-covered during the day tomorrow, with temperatures getting down to freezing. Quartz Creek on the west slope of the Coast Range is all wet. And I think primarily stays wet. I think the best chance of snow is actually on the east slope of the Coast Range. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. This shows Government Camp 32 tomorrow, 30 Friday, 33 Saturday. So that's pretty icy conditions with cold air certainly in place for a little while up in the Cascades. All right, what about the Coast Range? 39, 40, excuse me, the Coast, 39 Astoria, 47, Lincoln City, 48, Newport. Highs tomorrow, 43, and then we warm up to back to 50 on Friday and Saturday. Really no issues at the coast. It's all rain. And we'll be watching the Coast Range cameras. Don't forget to check conditions tomorrow morning early. If you're driving up in the Coast Range, you could be driving into snow, okay? Same thing out in the gorge. 34 Hood River, light snow being in the observation. How about that? 37 Cascade Locks, 38 the Dalles. Again, this area under a winter storm warning through Hood River with the potential of 4 to 8 inches of snow into tomorrow morning. The Dalles is at 38 degrees. So again, check I-84 cameras if you're driving tomorrow morning. One spot you can do this, this is my weather site that I own and operate, portlandweather.com. I have individual pages with the travel cameras for the gorge, for the coast, and for Mount Hood. Great resource for you to bookmark, portlandweather.com. I spent a lot of time designing this to be a helpful travel tool. All right, I do want to go to my Northwest current temperature page, 45 up in Seattle, 35 Spokane, 30 in Bend. Bend is in a winter weather advisory, and the forecast does call for a good 3 inches of snow accumulating overnight tonight. Look at the low, 26 tonight. And then tomorrow warming above freezing to 43. But there could absolutely be 3-4 inches of snow on the ground in Deschutes County tomorrow morning. So we'll keep an eye on that. Into the weekend, you're really warming back up. And, you know, the weekend forecast is mainly just showery precipitation. Seattle, 33 tonight, 44. It could be a mix of precip, but not really expecting any issues into the city itself. And then Friday, it's 39, 48. Obviously, that's well above freezing, a mainly dry day. And then just showery weather into the weekend, 51 Saturday, 51 Sunday. So really the cold air in terms of anything below a couple thousand feet, you've got to get down here in Oregon near the gorge or Clark County to get that gorge outflow. And here is my 7-day forecast. So I'm going in downtown Portland, 36 degrees tonight. I could be wrong. The National Weather Service has a winter weather advisory up saying there could be sticking snow at any and all low elevations. I don't think that's going to happen. But again, I could be wrong. So if you're going to be traveling, check conditions before you go. I've got 36 in Portland tomorrow, 44 for a high, a 50-50 chance that some of the metro hills, 500 feet and above, get some snow. 50-50 chance. Friday is a mainly dry day across the area. Gusty east winds pick back up. Again, Saturday morning, I'm going above freezing. That's what the odds favor in Portland, 36, but an outside chance that there could be some low snow spots. 47. During the day Saturday, east winds finally calm. Sunday, this is a bit of a change. Morning showers scattered, a dry afternoon. Monday's Washington's birthday. A dry morning, flip-flop here, dry morning, and then an afternoon shower chance. And then right now, while it's not in concrete, odds are favoring a dry Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's getting back up into the mid-50s, okay? So that's your update. Meteorologist Rod Hill, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. It helps me out. My weather site, again, I urge you to bookmark it at portlandweather.com. Thanks for watching my video, and I'll talk to you soon.